All right, guys, hello and welcome. We're going to be talking about the NFL today here with my special guest, Dawson Gordon.
Hello there.
All right, so we're going to talk about some of the winners and losers of the draft and just any surprises that you guys had. And so, first, Dawson, what do you think? Who do you think was a real winner in this draft?
Well, I have three, and number one would have to be Ohio State. 5 first-round draft picks and 12 overall. And those 12 draft picks were in the first 4 rounds. None in the fifth, sixth, or seventh. That's huge. It's one of the biggest draft classes for a college in the history of the modern NFL. Also, the Jaguars GM, David Caldwell, he picked Miles Jack and Jalen Ramsey, who some had for the second and third best NFL prospects going into this year's draft. Huge. And I think with this in the future, he can have a playoff team. You got so much young talent here. You got Blake Bortles, you got T.J. Yeldon, Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns, all great players who are all young and with a lot of potential. I think the job that David Caldwell has done in the past few years has shown and will definitely make this Jaguars team a lot better than the who stereotypes have shown. Third would have to be the Tennessee Titans. They got a lot of picks from that trade when they traded it to the Rams. They got Derrick Henry, and they got what was the name of the Michigan State Jack Conklin, offensive tackle. Going into the draft, many people thought Laramie Tunsil would be selected by the Tennessee Titans because they need help on the offensive line, and Laramie Tunsil got dropped down a lot, which we will talk about later. But they picked one of the best offensive tackles in the draft, and they still got a great pick, and I feel that they really benefited from this. How about you, Caleb?
Well, I definitely agree with what you're saying about the Titans because they really needed an offensive tackle going into the draft, and they actually won in their trade because they used to have the number 1 overall pick, and then they traded it down, but they still got that tackle that they needed. I don't think Conklin's that much worse than Laramie Tunsil at that position, so I think they did do a good job there. Some of my winners include the Dallas Cowboys. I really like the Ezekiel Elliott pick. I thought he'd get picked 4th. He's a great running back. Remember what the Cowboys used to have with DeMarco Murray? I feel like Ezekiel Elliott can perform like DeMarco Murray in the future. I think he's a really great running back, and I think he's a young guy that could definitely help improve this team. You also look at Dak Prescott. He really dropped in the draft, and I thought he was going to be maybe a mid-second round, maybe third-round pick. He's a great quarterback, and I think that once, due to Tony Romo's injury, that was the problem last year. They didn't really have any backup quarterback that could play well for this team, and I think Dak Prescott, once he develops a little bit, he can be that good backup quarterback and eventually maybe take over the job once Tony Romo is done. Also, Jalen Smith, another great pick in my opinion, and the Cowboys just overall defensively and offensively seem to be improving for the better. Also, you look at the Minnesota Vikings. They got a deep threat for Teddy Bridgewater in Laquan Treadwell. He dropped all the way to 23, and that was the problem for the Vikings. Their passing game wasn't very good. They also got a kicker, too, which is good after Blair Walsh and all his problems.